pirates, summon the heroic spirit Drake at the beginning. Author, like the wind. Chapter 31 Threats. I've seen it. The location of this treasure is near Kokosa village. Ziyan took back the treasure map, looked at Bucky and continued, I don't plan to go in the direction of Kokosa village, which is not in line with my sailing direction. So can I trouble you to ND this treasure for me? If you promise, I will let you go. Yes, yes. Bucky nodded quickly. Leave it to me. I will nightly ND the treasure and give it to you. Although Bucky agreed verbally, but in his heart he wanted to leave here as soon as possible. As for the treasure, he naturally didn't intend to hand it over to Ziyan. At that time, as long as Ziyan can't ND him, it will be me. Uncle Bucky, have stayed on the ship of One Piece before. I haven't seen any big scenes. When I leave here, I don't care who you are. If it doesn't work, I'll go to Shanks as a guest. I can't do it. You can still find me at the Four Emperors. Bucky thought in his mind. But now there is a problem, because I don't know how many treasures this treasure contains. Let's refer to Jack's treasure here. Ziyan continued to say as if he didn't see Bucky's careful thinking. So just pretend that there are million berries there, and you just need to use these million berries to buy me 2 devil fruits. There are so many berries, and I still need to buy 2 devil fruits. Although Bucky agreed verbally just now, he was still surprised when Ziyan opened his mouth. After all, I don't know if this treasure map is real, and even if it is real, there may not be so many treasures. 1 devil fruit is million berries on the market. If you buy me 2, you will still have million berries left. Say yes, Bucky. However, the devil fruit is only a minimum of million berries. Even if you have million berries, you may not be able to buy 2 devil fruits. What's more, even if you have million berries, you can't sell one of the powerful devil fruits. Bajiquan swallowing his saliva, he said with difficulty. Do you mean that you disagree? Ziyan looked at Bucky with a serious face while speaking. No, I agree. Seeing Ziyan's serious expression, Bucky quickly expressed his opinion. That's good. Ziyan looked up at the dark clouds that were gradually dissipating. Since their sky is about to clear up, let's go RST. As for you, just untie the rope yourself. You are still pirates, so you won't be trapped to death, right? As for the food, you can gear out a way for yourself on the island. Ziyan smiled and showed the treasure map tucked into Bucky's arms. He turned and walked towards the golden deer. By the way, Bucky, I took away the animal octopus fruit that you hid under your bed and locked tightly in the box. Bucky, who was hit by the treasure being robbed and the food on the boat being robbed, heard that Ziyan took away all the devil fruits he had hidden so deeply, he couldn't take it anymore, and passed out again. Hey, Bucky. Ziyan, who jumped on the golden deer, loudly woke up the sleeping Bucky. You can abide by our agreement. If you don't, As he said that, Ziyan pointed to Bucky, and a golden light began to ash. The golden light spun on Ziyan's ninja for a while, then you out. Boom. The golden light brushed Bucky's cheek and landed behind Bucky not far away, instantly blasting a deep crater on the spot. Bucky looked back with cold sweat on his face, and suddenly opened his mouth wide in fright. Then, goodbye, Bucky. Ziyan waved to Bucky. We will nightly meet again in the future. Nightly. Looking at the golden deer gradually moving away, everyone in the Bucky pirates felt unprecedentedly relaxed. Today is a very difficult day for them. Captain Bucky, the food is almost ready. Mochi put down the prey on his shoulders and said to Bucky, now we can go. Then let's sail. I don't want to stay in this place for a moment. Bucky replied with a jump. Then, Captain Bucky, do we really want to prepare devil fruits for them? Mentioning Ziyan's group, Mochi's eyes ashed with deep fear. Get ready for a fart. Are devil fruits so easy to get? Bucky yelled. We just need to stay away from them from now on. But if there is a chance, I still have to get the devil fruit. Thinking of the golden light just now, Bucky couldn't help thinking. The golden light just now reminds me of the yellow ape. Bucky was really frightened. When the golden light shot over just now, he seemed to see the attack of the Admiral of the Navy, the yellow monkey. At that moment, he really thought he was going to die. Okay, let's go. Let me go now. Bucky yelled at the pirates. Yes, Captain. All the pirates answered in unison. At this moment, on board the Golden Deer. Master, tell me, is that Red Nose really going to ND us a devil fruit? Tsunade walked up to Ziyan and sat down, and asked Ziyan. Scare him, maybe he really will. Ziyan leaned on Tsunade's shoulder. Perhaps, a miracle will happen. Chapter 32 About Tentacles. The storm has passed, and the sun's brilliance shines on the sea again. The Golden Deer set sail again, heading towards the town of Rogue, known as the town of the beginning and the end. Ziyan and his party have already decided not to stay in the East China Sea. They are going to set off from Raw Town, cross the reversing mountain, and enter the Great Waterway. An animal-type devil fruit can't be used to summon new partners. Ziyan looked at his friends. How about it? Do you plan to eat this devil fruit? I heard that if you eat a devil fruit, can you swim? Drake shook his head with a smile. I don't want to be a landlubber. Besides, octopus or something, it's physically unacceptable. Musashi also shook his hands and refused. Although I don't plan to eat it, but the little master can eat it. Tsunade, who was holding Zhu Yan's shoulders, embraced Zhu Yan from behind. Zhu Yan, an octopus will have a lot of tentacles. Isn't it tempting, my little master? You can do all kinds of things with your tentacles. Tsunade pressed his face to Zhu Yan's and continued, although I don't like tentacles, but if it's you, master, I'd like to let you do all kinds of things with your tentacles. Yes, why didn't I think of it at RST? Thinking about it now, it's quite exciting. As he spoke, Zhu Yan's face became lewd. So, the little master wants to eat it. Tsunade looked at Zhu Yan with a teasing smile. Forget it, I don't plan to become a tentacle monster. Zhu Yan shook his head. Besides, it's really not worthwhile to become unable to swim for an animal octopus fruit. Really? That's such a pity. Tsunade sighed. Hey, how much do you want to be harassed by tentacles? Zhu Yan was startled by Tsunade's openness. To be precise, I was harassed by the little master's tentacles. Tsunade pressed his forehead against Zhu Yan's forehead. I also said just now, I only wanted to be harassed by the master's tentacles. Haha. Zhu Yan looked at the other male partners with a smile. Are you interested? Emiya and the others also declined, obviously not interested in becoming an octopus. Then let's use it to summon new partners. After raising the devil fruit, Zhu Yan threw the devil fruit to Drake. Drake, save it for me. Okay, master. Drake caught the devil fruit and responded with a smile. While the golden deer was headed towards Rotown, on the other side of the sea, Garp's warship, the naval hero, was heading for Rotown with all its strength. After Garp took the Ying squirrels to the naval stronghold for treatment, he quickly rushed towards Rotown. He guessed that if Zhu Yan and his group wanted to enter the Great Route, they would nightly go to Rotown. Therefore, in the past few days, his warships have been sailing at full speed, hoping to stop Zhu Yan and the others in Rotown. Report to Lieutenant General Garp. The Drake pirates are found ahead. Garp, who was standing and sleeping, immediately woke up when he heard the adjutant's report. Looking in the direction of the adjutant's ninja, Garp immediately saw the golden deer sailing on the sea not far away. I found them. Garp squeezed his STS. Boys, let me drive the boat there. Also, take out my weapons and shells for me. Hearing Lieutenant General Garp's order, the sailors in the Navy immediately followed his instructions and mobilized. Then, the soldiers moved 2 boxes of shells and a large metal iron ball in front of Karp. Garp's warship is also very close to the Golden Deer. Everyone on the Golden Deer had also discovered this group of Navy a long time ago. However, Zhu Yan and his party did not run away, but quietly waited for them to approach. Looking at the strong Karp standing in front of the warship, Zhu Yan was also quite surprised. He didn't expect that before entering the Great Route, he would GHT against the world's top experts. However, Zhu Yan was not afraid, but rather excited. Iron Fist Karp, just try to see what kind of results my Bajiquan, which was specially trained by Li Xuan, can perform in front of the world's top actors. Looking at Karp in front of him, Zhu Yan was eager to try. Looking at the approaching Golden Deer, Karp smiled. Picking up a cannonball in front of him, he threw it vigorously at the Golden Deer. Fistbone meteorite. It's really interesting to hold the cannonball with your hands. Drake looked at the Ying cannonball and grinned. However, if you want to compare the repower with my Golden Deer, then you have chosen the wrong opponent. Golden Deer, prepare the cannon. Launch. PFFT. Following Drake's voice, one of the Golden Deer's muzzles aimed at the incoming shells, and quickly read a laser. After the laser blasted the cannonball thrown by Garp, he still had enough energy to white towards Garp. Seeing the laser ying towards him, Garp was a little surprised, then took out another cannonball and threw it at the laser. Boom! With the sound of the shells hitting the laser nearly dissipated in the air. Chapter 33 Bajiquan. It's such a good ship, it reminds me of the attack of the Yellow Ape. Garp stood up straight, but if you want to GHT with me, this alone is not enough. As he spoke, Garp continuously picked up the shells in front of him and threw them at the Golden Deer. Fistbone meteor swarm. It's the RST time I've seen someone operate like this. Even Drake, who has rich sailing experience, couldn't help feeling emotional when he saw Karp's actions like this. Although your shells are more powerful than the shells read by the Navy's cannons, my Golden Deer will not lose. Golden Deer, full muzzle. Following Drake's order, all the Golden Deer ran out and began to export to Garp's warship, frantically. Although most of the lasers were offset by the shells thrown by Garp, there were still quite a few lasers that broke through the bombardment of the shells and flew towards Garp's warship. If it weren't for Garp and his adjutant's interception, this round of attack would have caused considerable damage to the warship. This is really astonishing repower. Even the Navy doesn't have such an excellent ship. But, let's see what you do with this move. Seeing that the ST bone meteors could not take the Golden Deer, Garp said. He stretched out his hand and took the extra large iron ball that was just taken out by the Navy soldiers. Extraordinary iron ball with ST bones. Looking at the huge iron ST ying from Garp's boat, Ziyan smiled, jumped under the iron ball in an instant, and then blasted past with a burst of street boom, facing Ziyan's powerful punches. The extra-large iron ball could only fall to the sea not far away, splashing a lot of water. "Let's go, Master Li, Peluslino. Come with me as a guest on Karp's boat." Ziyan looked at Karp opposite him excitedly. "Karp, leave it to me, you help me stop the others. By the way, it's Luffy's grandfather after all, it's enough for those soldiers to stun." After speaking, Ziyan jumped towards Garp's boat. Li Xiuin didn't speak, but silently called out his long spear, and followed Ziyan closely. "Since we're going to GHT the monster like Lieutenant General Garp, it's scary." Peluslino, who was wearing a mask and a black suit, shook his head, and quickly followed Ziyan. "Besides, if you dare to GHT Lieutenant General Garp, you are also a monster, Marshal." On the Navy warship, Garp didn't stop the people who were yelling over, just watching them fall on the ship. The other soldiers on the Navy warship looked at the 3 people who fell on board, and took out their guns and pointed at them. Garp looked at the 3 people who fell down, and his eyes were not on Ziyan who was standing in the RST place, but on Peluslino. For some reason, Garp felt that this 3-meter-tall man gave him a very familiar feeling. However, Garp, who didn't think of anything after looking at it for a while, turned his attention to Ziyan who was standing in the RST place. "Black hair and black eyes, you must be Ziyan. Speaking of which, thank you for taking care of my grandson in Feng village." Garp folded his hands and stared at Ziyan. "I have a question. I heard that Drake is your captain, but I seem to hear that she is headed by you. Can you tell me why?" Drake is indeed the leader of our Drake pirates. However, the leader of the organization, Blue Star affiliated to the Drake pirates, is me. Haha. Ziyan is not afraid that this information will be known by the Navy or the world government, but hopes that they will promote his organization. After all, now that Ziyan's own team has grown in strength, it's time to spend a little more time. "Blue Star, I remember." Garp stretched out his ST covered with armed domineering. "I will report your organization to Sengoku when I send you into the City of Advancement." I've heard that Admiral Karp, the naval hero, has very hard STS. Today, let me try it out." Seeing Garp approaching, Ziyan also walked towards Garp. "I'll leave the others to you, Master Li Xiuin, the masked man. It seems that you are very content in yourself." Garp looked at Ziyan with some surprise. "Not only did you leave your ship and came to the enemy camp, but you also said that you would deal with me alone. I really don't know what to say. You have, is it courage, or does it mean that I have been underestimated?" "I have the guts to underestimate you. You'll know right away." Garp. As he spoke, Ziyan's eyes ashed coldly. "Yang Master's birth, and Yin Master's kill." "Garp, are you ready?" "Accidentally died." After speaking, Ziyan used his magic power and quickly swung his ST towards Garp. Garp immediately waved his armed ST covered in domineering colors to meet him. "Oh. This is?" Garp, who fought hard, immediately sensed that something was wrong, and quickly distanced himself from Ziyan. "I said, you have to be careful, Garp." Ziyan put on the stance of Bajiquan. "My Bajiquan method pays attention to killing with one blow. If you don't pay attention to me as a little pirate, you will really die. Yes!" Chapter 34. No 2 dozens. Garp rubbed his chest. Just now he clearly felt a wave of energy bypassing his domineering and rushing towards his heart. If he hadn't reacted in time and quickly discharged this energy, otherwise, he might have been injured just because of the collision just now. "Boy, you really have a hand. If you are not careful with such an ability, you will really suffer a lot." "But is it really good to tell your enemies like this?" Garp rubbed his shoulders, and the armor in his hand was domineering, more intense. "After all, you are Luffy's grandfather, and I have a good impression of you. I don't want to kill you." After a pause, Ziyan continued, "To be honest, if it wasn't because of the relationship between Tanlong people, if so, I really want to get along well with your navy." "Don't you want to kill me, boy? I suddenly have a little liking for you." Garp smiled, "And I don't like Dan Longren's words very much." Speaking of this, Garp was a little helpless. Because of the bad behavior of the Tanlong people, how many people were forced to stand opposite the Navy and the world government, which also made Garp dislike the Tanlong people even more. Although most people don't like Tanlong people in their hearts, they won't say it out. But Garp is different. As a naval hero, even if he clearly hates the Celestial Dragons, the world government will not treat him like that. "However, your 2 companions are really good at it." Garp turned his head and looked at Li Xiuin, who was getting with his adjutant with a gun, and Peluslino, who was playing with other sailors wearing masks. Garp clearly felt that his adjutant was no match for the old man with the gun, and the old man didn't use his full strength. Like the masked man playing with the sailors, he was simply preventing his own people from coming to support him, so as to create an atmosphere for Zhu Yan to GHT alone with him. Moreover, seeing the acting style and posture of the masked man, Garp's sense of déjà vu became stronger. Seeing that Garp still has time to focus on other things at this moment, Ziyan felt amused in his heart, and immediately an iron mountain leaned against Garp and ran towards him. "Garp, who was looking at Pelusilino, suddenly felt a chill, and quickly looked at Xian. At this time, Xian's attack had already arrived in front of him. Faced with this situation, Garp did not choose to defend. Instead, he swung his STS and punched Xian vigorously. Boom! The hurricane in the distance broke out from the place where Xian and Garp came into contact. Xian stopped talking to Karp, and greeted Karp with a full set of Bajiquan. Karp also has rich boxing experience. Although he has never encountered such a skillful boxing method, he also relied on his own experience to GHT with Xian. Even the preoccupied Garp had a slight upper hand. But as the battle progressed, Xian's Bajiquan became more and more proficient. Garp's initial advantage is slowly disappearing. Although Xian had practiced Bajiquan with Li Shuwen in the past few days, the time was short after all, and Xian and Li Shuwen would not GHT with all their strength. So Xian's Bajiquan is still a bit shallow. Now, Xian is taking advantage of the opportunity to GHT Karp to practice his boxing skills. As the battle progressed, Garp also discovered Xian's intentions. This is practicing with me, Garp thought in his heart, and his knowledgeable domineering has already discovered that all his subordinates have fallen. Fortunately, none of them were fatally injured, which made him feel more fond of Xian and his group. I also believe that they will stand opposite the Navy because of the relationship between the 10 long people. Boom! With another GHT, Xian and Capra opened up a little distance. It's almost time to end, Garp. Xian looked at the fallen sailors around him, and said to Garp, I will use my special skills next. You have to catch it. Karp also knew that he would not be able to catch Xian's group this time, but he felt that it would be difficult to win in a short time just by beating Xian, not to mention that he had other companions watching. Garp didn't speak, but used his armed arrogance and knowledge arrogance even more, and responded to Xian with practical actions. This move is dubbed the Steel Fist View Hit, because often this one blow will kill the enemy, so there is no need for a second attack. Xian said, and the magic power in his body began to puff. Then, come and taste this blow, Karp. It is better to know 100 secrets than to kill their enemy with one blow. This is the unrivaled strike. Ha! Following the words, Xian quickly rushed towards Garp, and when he got to the front and back of him, he swung his palm violently. Garp used his knowledge and domineering aura to the extreme, catching Xian's attack trajectory. Then he swung his steel SD vigorously. Boom! Puff! Although Garp blocked Wu Da with his street, some strength still broke through his ST and attacked his internal organs. Cap suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. Chapter 35 Robbing Garp. Although blood was spurted out from the beating, with Garp's physique, this was only a minor injury, and even without medical treatment, it would not take long for him to recover on his own. Compared with being injured, Garp cared more about this move that Xian called unparalleled attack. He had clearly paid full attention to Xian's attack with his knowledge and arrogance in advance, but he was still injured. You must know that he is the most powerful Gta in the Navy. He was injured by this attack. If the Navy below the general is subjected to such an attack, he may die. Xian alone can be compared to Garp, and this pirate group has other strong players. This couldn't help but make Garp deeply shocked by the Drake Pirates and the Blue Star organization behind them. Should I be said to be a hero of the Navy, Garp? I was only slightly injured by this move. Xian shook his head. This really makes me feel ashamed of the person who taught me Bajiquan. So, Garp, do you still want to GHT? Xian stared at Garp and said, I've already used their trick, and I don't want to GHT anymore. But if you insist on arresting us, then I can accompany you, but next, I don't plan to GHT you alone. I will let a group of us single out you alone. Hey, you bastard, you call it a one-on-one GHT? Garp let go of the arrogance in his hands, and shouted at Xian. Forget it. If we continue to GHT with you, I feel like we won't be able to tell the winner in a short time. Garp shook his head and looked at Xian. How can there be a guy like you in Donghai? You go, I'm the loser this time. Question mark. Since we admit defeat, everyone, go and remove the supplies on this naval hero's ship. Ha ha, Xian said with a big laugh. What, are you a devil? Hearing that Xian wanted to remove their supplies, Garp was immediately unhappy. You have already brought down my people, isn't that enough? Now you have to grab them our supplies. Don't forget, Garp, we are pirates, and our Captain Drake is offered a reward by your Navy. Ha ha, Xian laughed loudly. If you want to stop us, we will let you go. RST down, go to move the supplies. You choose yourself. Forward. Considering that continuing to GHD would not change the ending of the supplies being robbed, Karp allowed Xian and his team to rob. Karp, you can't do this. Why are there only Womberg on board? You are a magnificent naval hero, and you usually go to sea. Do you only bring such a small amount of money? Your status as a naval hero is crying. Garp. Xian, who thought he would reap a large amount of wealth, looked at Karp with hatred for their millionberry he got, and yelled, "Ahaha, it's a good thing I don't bring much money when I go out, otherwise, wouldn't it be cheaper for you, kid?" Ha ha. After speaking, Garp even proudly took out a booja and icked it at Xian. Depend on Xian, who hastily dodged, wished he could GHT Karp another times. "You old guy." Ziyan gave Karp a hard look, then turned to look at his companions behind him. "Everyone, go and remove all the food and drink on this old guy's boat. I don't even leave him a piece of senpai." "Hey, you're going too far." Hearing that Ziyan wanted to remove all the food on the boat, Garp became anxious. "You removed these things, what are we going to eat?" "You can go Xing, old man. Come to think of it, you won't starve to death." Ziyan looked at Garp with a stern look on his face. "If you don't accept it, hit me, you bastard." Garp was so angry that the veins popped out of his head, but he still didn't make a move and the end. "Garp, goodbye, thank you for your supplies." After finishing speaking, Ziyan took a bite of the cracker in his hand with a look of pride. "Well, Garp, your cracker is not bad, I will come to get it next time. Haha. Damn it, I didn't even leave a piece of senpai to me." Looking at Ziyan on the golden deer, waving goodbye, Garp said earnestly, "You guys wait for me, I will definitely put you caught it." "Welcome to catch me," Ziyan said indifferently, "however, remember to bring more supplies. Next time you go out, don't be so shabby like this time." "Damn it, I will catch you from now on, and I won't take a single berry." "If you do this, then I have no choice but to arrest you and ask the Navy for money," Ziyan said with a smile. "Anyway, you are a hero of the Navy. I believe the Navy is willing to pay us a big price to get you back." "What? Are you a devil? Since you want to arrest an old man like me for money, where's your conscience?" "Hee. If you don't believe me, don't bring money to arrest me next time. You can see if I can exchange money with you." Ziyan looked at Garp and said, "Then goodbye Garp, I will visit you next time around." Hateful. "Then, everyone, let's continue our voyage." Ignoring Garp, Ziyan turned to look at his companions. "Go to Rogue Town." Oh. Chapter 36 Garp's Conjecture. "Lieutenant General Garp, what shall we do next?" The adjutant wearing a hat asked Garp. "Contact Zungo RST." Garp sighed. "Ziyan and his group will let Zungo worry about it." "Garp, are you serious?" Sengoku, who was holding a phone bug microphone, looked serious. "You didn't catch the Drake pirates, and you weren't even sure of defeating that guy named Zutyan." "Yes, Warring states that guy's cutting skills are too powerful. If the armed color is not strong enough, it will be too disadvantageous to GHT him in close quarters." Garp said seriously. According to what he said, his boxing method is called Bajiquan. To be honest, whether it is his boxing skills or the sharpness of his attacks, he is very powerful, especially the unique move called wuxiap. If you don't pay attention, you may be killed. It turned out to be like this. You went in person, but you were stopped by him alone. You didn't even let the man with white hair and red clothes take action. Zungo frowned even deeper. "Garp, the Vold Stars have already issued an order, let our Navy catch the members of their Drake pirates. I thought that you alone would be enough. But now it seems that we need to send more people." Warring States paused for a moment, then continued, "About your battle this time, you must keep it a secret, otherwise it will affect the morale of the Navy. In addition, I will report to Wu Loxing again, and ask them to send someone to help if possible." In the end, they are dissatisfied with Tanlong people who will become pirates, and we can't just let us use up Ugting power to catch people. You wait for the report RST. Sengoku. I have photos and names of everyone in their pirate group. Channel Warring States wants to hang up the phone, Garp said quickly. "Just now I asked Ziyan about their information, and he told me the names of the members of their pirate group, and he didn't even stop us from taking pictures. I have to say, these guys are quite content. However, this is just a member of their pirate group according to Ziyan. They also have an organization called Blue Star, and the Drake pirates belong to this organization. Maybe they have other members." "What? Garp, are you serious?" "I don't think he's joking. Otherwise, why would there be so many strong people suddenly appearing in the East China Sea?" Although Garp is usually careless, he is not stupid. Therefore, Sengoku still believed in Garp's words. "By the way, Sengoku, they have a companion that gives me a very strange feeling. To be honest, I feel very confused now." Garp suddenly thought of something and said to Sengoku opposite the phone bug, "Oh? Who made you feel so strange?" Warring States was also aroused by Garp's curiosity. "That guy is about 3 meters tall, wearing a black suit, and wearing a mask." But Ziyan didn't reveal his name. Although he didn't speak, his body shape and his cutting style reminded me of those in our Navy. One of the people. Garp has always felt strange about the masked man, and therefore specifically asked Ziyan for information about this man, but Ziyan was willing to disclose the names of others. But he was unwilling to say his name. At this moment, looking at the yellow phone bug, Garp suddenly thought of someone. "Garp, what do you want to say?" Warring States couldn't sit still anymore. "There are not many people in the Navy who are about 3 meters tall, and the 3 admirals are all about 3 meters tall. Peluslino the yellow ape." Garp didn't say much, but only reported a name. Zungo was silent. As a colleague for decades, Zungo knew that Garp would not joke about this matter. So his heart is very heavy at the moment. Garp, This matter will be discussed after I understand the situation, and I also want to argue with Wu Loxing. I will contact you when I have a conclusion. Well, Warring states. Please investigate this matter. To be honest, Karp is very unwilling to hope that his guess is correct, but no matter what he sees with the naked eye or his domineering observation of the masked man is, indeed, very similar to the yellow ape. Therefore, he was still very worried that Huang Yuan was really Ziyan's companion. Garp, who hung up the phone, looked at the sea and sighed deeply. Lieutenant General Garp, what shall we do next? The adjutant who heard the call did not bother about the yellow monkey, but asked Garp for his next order. Forget it, let Sengoku do the thinking. Ha. Garp shook his head. Go and help me with some. Senpai, I'll be hungry after a GHT with that guy. Lieutenant General Garp, have you forgotten? They took all our supplies, not even a single. Senpai. Garp covered his head with one hand. That guy. What are you doing in a daze? If you don't have anything to eat, hurry up and go Xing. Their towns are still a little far away. Don't you guys eat for the next few days? Garp, who had recovered, immediately ordered to the sailors. Even Garp took the lead and picked up the Xing rod to go Xing. As a result, on Garp's warship, there was a scene of a group of people sitting in a row, Xing, with Xing rods in their hands. Chapter 37 Survey. Marin Fando, Navy Headquarters, in the office of Admiral Sengoku. Hey, this is not a joke. Admiral Kizin, who was sleeping in the Sengoku office, took off the blindfold on his eyes. The yellow monkey is a partner of the pirates. This is not funny at all. Marshal Sengoku. Marshal, let me investigate that Kizaru. Admiral Akainu Sakaski stood up from his chair. If that guy really betrayed the justice of the Navy, I will personally execute him. A long time ago, Sakaski felt that the yellow ape was too lazy, and the justice of the Navy was not well executed, so he thought about how to be lazy all day long. Although Sakaski was quite dissatisfied with his behavior, he didn't say much, and he didn't feel surprised. It was just a matter of Huang Yuan's personality. But now, when Kizaru was accused of being a pirate, Sakaski immediately felt that Kizaru's behavior was abnormal all the time, and maybe it was really an undercover agent sent by their pirates to the Navy. I know, Kuzan, I don't believe in Peluslino either. Also, Seikulski, calm down. Peluslino joined the Navy when he was young, and he has been in the Navy for so many years. The possibility that the Navy was suddenly judged to be a pirate for no reason is too small, and if it was an undercover agent sent by this organization called Blue Star from the beginning, then this organization is too terrifying. A Ranger spy in the Navy has climbed to the position of Admiral step by step for decades. This is no joke. Zango picked up the phone bug that he had just put down, and continued, Huang Yuan is on vacation at this time. I will call RSD and ask him where he is making judgments at the moment. Boo. Kaka. Hello, who is it? What's the matter? A lazy voice came from the phone bug on the Warring States side. This is Sengoku. Peluslino, where are you now? It's the Marshal of the Warring States. Well, I'm on vacation right now. You called. Don't you want to arrange work for me temporarily? Barusalino, this is not the time for you to complain. You report your location now. Zango ordered to Huang Yuan with a serious face. Hey, how serious? Your serious face has been sent to me through the phone bug. At this moment, the yellow monkey who was resting on an uninhabited island looked at the phone bug, imitating the serious face of the Warring States. Exaggeratedly, said, Damn it, Peluslino, you bastard, hurry up and report your location. Sakaski, who was on their side, was furious when he heard the lazy tone of the yellow ape, and there was a faint blue smoke from his hand. Hey, Sakaski, did I offend you? If so, then I'm really sorry. Huang Yuan, who faintly sensed that the matter might be a little serious, immediately continued, I'm currently in an unmanned building in the East China Sea. Resting on the island. East China Sea? Sengoku's eyes ashed for a while. You immediately go to Garp, who is on a mission in East China Sea. There is an important temporary task for you and him to do. Huh? What task do you need Lieutenant General Garp and me to do together? Huang Yuan asked with a puzzled face. Could it be to attack the four emperors? But it's not right. This is their East China Sea. Don't ask any extra questions. When you get to Garp's ship, just follow Garp's command. Warring States ordered. This matter is urgent, so you leave immediately. Alright, that's it. After speaking, Warring States hung up the phone bug. Marshal of the Warring States is really a rare vacation. Huang Yuan stood up helplessly. Forget it. It seems that there are indeed serious matters that need to be dealt with. If this is their case, let's take a trip. Then, RST contact Lieutenant General Garp con RMS his location. Garp, this is my arrangement. After Peluslino arrives, you will closely monitor him. During this period, I will ask my colleagues in Rogue Town to determine the location of the masked man. As he said that, a cold light flashed in Zango's eyes. If the masked man is no longer in there, Drake Pirates, you will temporarily control Peluslino. If the masked man is still there, you will take Peluslino to capture the Drake Pirates. Okay, Sengoku. I'm going to apply for more leave after this matter is settled. Do you hear me? Garp, who knew what happened, said to the phone bug. After all, this task is quite heavy. You have to be considerate of the old man. You bastard, do the task for me now, and we'll talk about the vacation later. After finishing speaking, Zango angrily hung up the phone. Marshal Sengoku, do you really think Pelusilino might be a pirate? Kizan asked Sengoku. Seriously, Pelusilino is in the East China Sea at this moment, which is too much of a coincidence. However, whether Pelusilino is a pirate or not, this matter will have a result soon. We just need to wait for a Garp's report. Zango said calmly, I will report to the world government RST about the Blue Star organization. Let them investigate the specie matters of this organization. Chapter 38. Arriving in Rogue Town. Pelusilino, when he was getting Garp just now, that guy paid a lot of attention to you. Maybe you have been exposed. Ziyan smiled at Pelusilino, who looked like a salted SH, said, Isn't that just in line with your wishes, Marshal? Pelusilino looked at Ziyan helplessly. You also specifically confessed that I behaved a little like that yellow ape in the Navy when I was getting. Haha, that's true, Ziyan said while enjoying Tsunade's massage. I hope this will attract the yellow monkey from the Navy. At that time, we can let you replace him, so that you went undercover for us in the Navy, lol? If you can really sneak into the Navy, Pelusilino, you have to work hard to develop your cronies. It would be even better if you can become the Admiral of the Navy. In this way, when we attack the world government in the future, there can also be a lot of navies to help us deal with the world government together. It's not easy to become the Admiral of the Navy. Pelusilino shook his head. Although their current Sengoku is getting older, his overall strength has not declined much. He will not abdicate so easily. After entering the Navy, you can develop yourself according to the situation at that time. Zhu Yan looked at the towns that began to emerge not far away and said, In the future, we will see the opportunity to do something, try to get the warring states out of power, and create opportunities for you. However, the Admiral still has Ake Ainu and Kingsley, and with that yellow monkey's performance in the Navy, even if Sengoku steps down, it will be difficult for you to take the position of Marshal. Therefore, after entering the Navy, you have to behave appropriately. For myself, at least when Sengoku steps down, you can compete with Ake Ainu and Kingsley. Ziyan, who looked back from the direction of the town, looked at Pelusilino and said, Based on your current strength, do you think that if you were to GHT with Chinu and Kingsley, would you be able to win? I'm not afraid of the seawater. I can't expose it, so I still need some strength to win against Chinu and Kingsley. However, it's just a little strength. The previous marshal told me to exercise my physical strength, and the recent I have learned a lot of useful things with my partners on their boat. Therefore, I am content that I can beat them. Pelusilino said contently, but if they join hands, then I just have to run. After all, they both are my fault. I'm at ease when you say that. Work hard, I'm optimistic about you. Ignoring the second part of Pelusilino's words, Ziyan walked up and patted him on the shoulder and said, Hey, I feel like I'm leaving the Golden Deer soon. In this way, I won't be able to eat Mr. Amir's food for a long time. I'm used to Mr. Amir's cuisine, and it's really nice to go to eat the Navy's cuisine. It's hard to say anything. Pelusilino sighed helplessly. Haha, Pelusilino, just be patient. Ziyan looked at Pelusilino's exaggerated expression with a smile. Before you leave now, eat more of Amir's food. Then, Amir, please make more of his favorite food for Pelusilino, who is about to go on an expedition. Ziyan turned his head, looked at Weigong, who was mixing wine, and said, No problem. Weigong replied with raised eyebrows. Rogue Town, known as the town of beginning and end. The streets of the town are buzzing with people. During this noon period, the hard-working workers are sweating their hearts out. Most of the travelers gathered in the square where Rhodes was executed, watching Roger's execution platform. As a town at the entrance of the Great Waterway, pirates are naturally indispensable here. Also, because of these pirates, the number of Navy in Rot Town is twice as large as that of other towns. And today, there is another group of pirates visiting Rot Town. The Golden Deer, which had sailed on the sea for several days, nearly arrived at Rot Town. After the Golden Deer landed, Ziyan couldn't wait to jump off the ship. Ignoring the townspeople who were watching the Golden Deer disappear into lightning and starlight, Ziyan led the crowd towards the square of Rot Town. Speaking of which, the materials placed on the Golden Deer will return to her treasure space, along with Drake taking back the Golden Deer. When he found out about this, Ziyan curiously tried to see if he could summon the Golden Deer and disappear back into the noble phantasm space with the items, and it turned out that it really could. Knowing the result, Ziyan was so happy to think that he could be regarded as a person with storage space. Ziyan's goal is Roger's execution platform. After all, Roger's execution platform is a famous building in this world. Ziyan is still very interested in it. Hey, take a look. There are some decent women here. Ziyan, who was walking quickly, was stopped by a group of pirates who obviously smelled of alcohol. Hey, beauty, why are you following that little boy? Do you want to come to our pirate group? I'm a giant pirate with a bounty of million berries. Yeah, follow our captain and make sure you get what you want. Yes, it is your honor to follow our captain. Hearing the words of these pirates, Ziyan's expression darkened instantly, and a cold light burst out in his eyes. Chapter 39 The pirate who was scared and cried. Most of these pirates were looking at Ziyan and his group with a smile. Only one pirate looked at Yan and his party with horror on his face, especially when looking at Yan. The cold sweat on his face became more and more profuse. The trembling body and frightened face of this pirate formed a sharp contrast with his fellow pirates. Ship, Captain. The pirate looked at his captain almost crying and said, Don't talk, let's go. Let's go. What's up, Scythe? Are you afraid of them? Haha, Scythe, you are not such a timid guy. Seeing Scythe's crying face, his fellow pirates immediately laughed at him. Scythe, you can't do this. As pirates, even the Navy, we don't have to be afraid. What's more, these beautiful women and these men who don't have much muscle at our sight. As he said that, the captain of the giant bull deliberately showed off his muscles. The captain of the giant bull is meters tall, and his muscles are tangled together like iron blocks. Even if Peluslino is much shorter in front of him, it's no wonder he is so confident. Captain, this is today's newspaper. Please read it quickly. Also, please read these 2 reward lists. Scythe was already crying. Unu took the reward list and the newspaper with a puzzled expression, and when he saw their reward list, his eyes popped out. Captain Drake, offer a reward of million berry. Shirumir, offer a reward of million berry. Well, Pengoli, the giant bull, was so frightened that he swallowed a mouthful of saliva. He glanced at Drake and Emir Shira in a cold sweat, and then looked at the newspaper in his hand. Seeing the headlines and photos of CODA in the newspaper, Unu was so frightened that he sat down on the ground. On the front page of the newspaper, there was an exaggerated headline like Karp was beaten and vomited blood by rookie pirate. If it was just the title, he wouldn't care too much. But under the title, there was a photo of Karp vomiting blood, and in the photo, standing opposite Karp was Yan Boon. In the naval headquarters, in the office of Marshal Sengoku, Sengoku punched his desk hard. There is a newspaper on the desk, which is the news that Garp was beaten to vomit blood by the rookie pirate. That guy Morgans, how did he get the newspaper? Zango originally wanted to hide their news of the battle between Garp and Ziyan, but before he could recover, the news was brought to the world by Newsbirds Up. I said earlier that the guy Morgans can't be kept. I knew Sarkaski said Ursly, Morgans has released a lot of news that is not good for our navy these years, so we should send him to the great undersea prison. Morgans can't move, it's too laborious. Sengoku shook his head, his influence in their underground world is too great. If we forcibly attack him, the navy will also suffer a lot of losses. As for the news, Sengoku looked at the newspaper on the desk. As long as Garp and Kizaru can catch the Drake pirates, it will be no big deal. Just now, Rogue Town, there is news that Zuyan and his party have landed in Rotown, and the masked man is by Ziyan's side. Oh, so what happened to Peluslino on Garp's side? Ainu straightened his hat and said, I just talked to Garp on the phone. Peluslino has been following him since he came to his ship. Moreover, Peluslino's recent whereabouts have also been investigated. It is unlikely that he has ran to the Drake pirates and fought with Garp and the others. Saying that, Zango picked up the newspaper with both hands, and continued, Now Garp's boat is near the town of Ro, and I have asked Garp to take Peluslino to hunt down Ziyan and his party. Once they are caught, the negative impact of the news will not be too big. Well, that's good. Since Peluslino is not a pirate, then with the strength of him and Lieutenant General Garp, it won't be a problem to catch that group of pirates. Sarkaski nodded and said, Hey, there's a guy in that group of pirates who misses me so much. Kizaru looked at Garp in surprise. So, are you guys doubting me these days? Ha ha ha, please understand, Peluslino. Garp patted the yellow ape apologetically. There is no other way. We will catch them later, when the time comes. You can see for yourself. When you see him, you will understand me. Oh. Lieutenant General Karp said so. I'm really interested. Huang Yuan touched his chin with a curious expression. It was able to make Lieutenant General Garp look away. It's better to send this kind of person to prison at the bottom of the sea, lest I be misunderstood. Again, Huang Yuan's eyes ashed coldly. I don't want to have my vacation cancelled again because of something like this. Chapter 40 Regretful Pengoli. You vomited blood from the naval hero Garp. Pengoli, the giant bull, looked at Yan in horror. At this moment, his drink has long been awakened by the news and reward list in their newspaper. His giant bull was only offered a reward of million by the Navy, but among Ziyan's group, there were 2 people who were much more rewarded than himself. There is also a man who Probably vomited blood from the legendary marine cap. Why did I come to provoke this group of people? Pengoli only felt deep regret. Yan Bing looked at these pirates coldly. He didn't want to say anything to these guys, because, in his eyes, these people were no different from dead people. Yan stepped lightly, quickly ran around these pirates, and then returned to the position where he stood at the beginning, picking up the dust under his feet. In the eyes of ordinary people, Yan just shook his body. But in fact, he has already punched each pirate quickly, and every punch hits their heart. Let's go, everyone. After Yan finished speaking, he led his companions to continue walking towards the square of Rotown. When Ziyan and his party walked past the giant bull Pengoli and the others, the group of pirates vomited blood and fell to the ground. Their eyes were all wide open, obviously not breathing. Dead. The bull with a bounty of million berries has been killed. Many people have seen Unu come to trouble Ziyan and his party. Seeing the sudden death of Unu and his party at this moment, these people were shocked immediately. The navy over there, I will hand over this pirate worth million yuan to you. Yan had already spotted the navy that was watching them among the crowd. Yan knew that the battle with Karp would definitely be known by the warring states. In this case, it was within Ziyan's expectation that the warring states would arrange for the navy to monitor them in Rotown. I'll go to your base to collect the bounty in a while. Ziyan's voice, who had already walked away, clearly reached the ears of the navy who was doing surveillance work, and immediately made them shudder. They knew what kind of monster the person he was watching was, and that was the person who had been in contact with Lieutenant General Garp. No, I have to inform the colonel immediately. The naval officer in charge of monitoring thought to himself. You continue to monitor. I will contact the Lieutenant Colonel RSD and report the situation to him. After the naval officer ordered the soldiers behind him, he took out his phone book and contacted the colonel in Rotown. Is this the place where One Piece was executed in this world? It's quite ordinary. Drake sighed, looking at the ordinary execution platform. It's quite ordinary indeed. Even the One Piece, when he died, the place is very ordinary. Yan continued, alright, I've seen the execution platform of One Piece. So, do you plan to visit this town? Woolen cloth. I'll just stay by your side, master. Saying that, Derek took Yan's hand and said with a smile, where you go, I will go. I'm the same as Drake. I'll just follow you. Tsunade said quickly, embracing Yan's other hand. Me too, me too. Seeing that Ziyan's hands were taken away, Musashi felt sorry and hurriedly expressed his opinion. That I need to buy some ingredients, so I won't be with you. Imiyashiru looked at Yan and the third daughter with a smile, and expressed his opinion. In this case, I don't suggest that I go shopping with you, Wygong. Li Shuwen walked towards Wygong, but don't let me, an old man, carry things. You're joking, you are growing stronger and stronger. Wygong said to Li Shuwen with a smile. For me, just follow the marshal. Anyway, Rotown is nothing for me to visit. Pelus Lino, who was wearing a mask, shook his head. Let's go, masked man, you are idle anyway, come and help me carry things. Hearing that Pelus Lino was going to follow Ziyan, Emiya shook his head and walked over, pulling Pelus Lino towards him. Go far. This masked man really doesn't understand the atmosphere. Li Shuwen smiled, and quickly followed Wygong and the other two. It seems that Wygong and the others are creating opportunities for us to be alone. Yan smiled and looked at the three girls. Let's go, since Wygong and the others have given us a chance to be alone, let's go shopping. Let's walk around this town. When we're done, we'll go to the navy base and get the money. Okay. The three girls agreed in unison. It's really cowardly, this group of navy. Yan looked at the scroll that sealed more than million berry treasures in his hand and sighed. I thought they were going to do something, but I didn't expect them to be so proactive. I'm embarrassed to say they've done it. After almost finishing visiting Rotown, Ziyan took the three daughters into the naval base of Rotown to collect the bounty of the giant bull? As a result, it was very easy and in a peaceful atmosphere. The naval captain here offered their bounty. If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.